Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Spirit Inside. Right at the top, I'm going to ask you to share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff we're supposed to do. And I'm going to try to go kind of a quicker pace. Won't go into details, but today's been a long day, vaccinations, some other stuff, so just going to power through this as fast as I can. So in this video, I want to wrap up our time with Ron Centenario. I've done 2 previous videos, so check them out if you like this video. And in this video, we're going to talk about Ron Centenario's 30 years. Now, those previous 2 videos, I've talked about a good part of Ron Centenario's history. It's not a very particularly old brand. Started in basically the early 70s, but then really kicked off in the 80s, when, like in 84, if my memory serves me right, that's when their first product came out. So not too long. I know 80 seems like a long time ago, and it is, but compared to other brands like Jack Daniels or Jameson, it's nowhere near as long as the history that those companies have. So in this video, we're just going to I'm just going to look at some of the history bits, kind of like miscellaneous things, since I covered most of the more key stuff in those first 2 videos. So this last video is going to be kind of fun in that sense. It's just some few minor miscellaneous facts about their history and about their brand. So like I said, I've already done 2 other videos that go into deeper detail on the history, so I'm just going to give you a minor recap. Like I said, I'm going to kind of try to power through this. I'm just going to read off my notes here real quick. So today, the company that's behind Centenario, kind of like the parent company, is called Centenario Internacional S.A. But they started in 1969 under the Seagram de Costa Rica company name. In 2002, Ron Centenario separates from Seagram to become the Centenario International S.A. Then in 2016, Centenario Internacional was acquired by UDG Group. The only thing that I want to say about the UDG Group is that it's a Panamanian real estate development firm. Obviously, I think the first question that comes up is, why does a Panamanian real estate development firm want to own a rum brand? So real quick, UDG stands for Urban Development Group. Now again, another question is, why does a Panamanian company have their name in English in a Spanish-speaking country, at least as far as how the acronym goes? Again, I just don't want to go down that rabbit hole, since it kind of takes me away from anything to do with liquor and history of Ron Centenario. So for now, I just kind of let that go. Now, to be sort of fair to the parent company, UDG, UDG, when I was doing research for this Ron Centenario brand, and I would learn a little bit about Seagram along the way. And Seagram was also kind of similar in that they had businesses and holdings that had nothing to do with liquor production, rum production, or anything like that. They also had they also had like a similar portfolio. It's like more of a multi-conglomerate portfolio. So they had holdings in oil companies and other energy-related companies. So I'm guessing that is what UDG's attempting. They've gotten their start maybe in real estate development, and then they want to diversify for whatever reason to make rich people even richer. So they're like, let's get into rum making, because everybody likes to drink rum. So I mean, they're not wrong about that. It's just it's always weird when you think about a real estate company or a company that does an energy and oil production also dipping their toe in something totally different. But that's what a multi-conglomerate type company does. And then quite frankly, it gets so hard verifying the structure of who owns what, and I want to make sure I put out good quality and accurate information. And that's hard to do when trying to figure out the corporate structure of all these companies and brands. So that's another reason why I kind of give you some basic stuff, but don't go too deep into it. Plus, I don't think it'd be the most interesting video. And another thing I want to cover in this video, as far as some miscellaneous historical things, is the brand's logo, the horse logo. Except, of course, on today's product, it doesn't feature the horse logo. But in the previous 2 videos and most of their other packaging, they do. They do have this horse logo. So again, I couldn't find anything directly from Ron Centenario about why they chose a horse logo. So then I kind of look at AI to see what that's going to say. And supposedly it's based on a famous racing horse. Only maybe it's not. So like I said, I tried to find it on my own, and I gave AI a shot about finding why the Ron Centenario has the horse as a logo. And I asked the question, reframe it a different way, just so I can make sure it can give me consistent answers. And it gave me, every time I did it, it gave me down like a different thread, a different reason for why the horse logo. So let me just give you my opinion about why they chose a horse for a logo. It's a bit speculative, but so maybe don't take it as a complete fact, but I feel like I'm in the general ballpark of why a horse logo. Yeah, the name is inspired by a racehorse, possibly a lesser known racehorse from Venezuela named Canonero II, who won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness in 1971. So that's possible one realistic connection. Rather than the logo being named for that specific horse, it's just inspired by the horses and the racehorses in general. It's because, you know, horse is a powerful animal and it got a lot of prestige. So the reason why I think it's just horse in general is because, number one, this particular racehorse is not very well known, and plus it's from Venezuela, not Costa Rica. So I don't know why they would want to link their brand to specifically that horse. Wrong country, and yeah, it had some success, but it's not like the most well-known racehorse. So I've kind of alluded to about the horse being a powerful animal and being a popular logo for brands. Because if you think about it, horses are, you know, they symbolize strength, agility, maybe like endurance, and just a bunch of other adjectives you could throw at it. And, you know, consumers want to be connected to that and kind of and convey that to their customers and their consumers. So another thing is that the horse logo is often connected to high-end and luxury brands. So think of Ferrari and Porsche, for example. They both use a horse for a logo. And sure, that's cars, and it probably makes a little bit more sense in that horsepower and fast and speed and strength and those found in mechanical cars. But it's also two very luxury high-end brands. Well, if you watch my other videos, I mentioned about how right from the start, Ron Centenario had no interest in being an affordable basement level kind of product, not a mid-level tier product. From day one, they only wanted to be top tier luxury premium rum. When you got like Porsche and Ferrari using the horse logo, it kind of makes sense that they also would want to use a horse logo, regardless if it had anything to do with the racehorse. Another thing I want to pick on real quick is that Ron Centenario promotes sort of this environmentally conscious approach to making rum. They use the term age by nature. To sum it up, it's their dedication to using environmentally conscious approach to making the product, which is fine, it's cool. The thing is, Costa Rica in general has that reputation, and Centenario is kind of just aligned with that, which again, that's good. And I would say that it's true that they respect nature, because I guess it's a kind of a cultural thing in Costa Rica in general. The way they're promoting it, how they're being environmentally conscious, it's just an element of their PR. I mean, it's sure, it'll appeal to a certain consumer base. And one final bit of information I want to mention is that Centenario's master blender is Susana Masses. I hope I pronounced that right. Now I'm going to claim to be the most knowledgeable person about this, but my sense is that in this industry and definitely in this position, I do this research and you come across whoever the main distiller is, the main tester or designer of different liquor combinations, whatever, and it's always usually a guy, but there are handful of ladies in there. And so I'm pointing this out because obviously since it seems like it's a male dominant thing, it's good to highlight, you know, a woman who's dominating and is very respected in this field that's mostly a boys' club, I guess you could say. Now, I can't really do her justice, so I'd probably have to do an own video on her alone if I wanted to really do her justice, but let me give you some kind of basic highlights and details about her. She's been in the liquor industry, as of this video, about 30 years plus. She's a chemical engineer, and before working with Centenario, she worked in the food industry implementing like quality assurance and programs and standards. And as the master blender, she's responsible for the blending process, the aging warehouse, and the purchase and logistics of the packaging and raw materials. And she oversees the international portfolio. Like I said, she's a super important person, a key person in the Ron Centenario organization. She's really high up there, so she's got her hands in a lot of different things they manage there. And obviously a lot of people make Ron Centenario, the brand, a success, not just her, but you know, she has a lead role and really deserves a big bunch of the credit for, you know, being a good leader and make sure the Ron Centenario brand still stays premium and well reviewed across the globe. What we have here today is the Ron Centenario 30 Aniversario. It's a 40% alcohol per volume, which puts it at 80 proof. Of course, aged in American white oak barrels that have been used previously in Scottish whiskey production. This was developed and debuted in 2011. That means the very first batch that came out in 2011 started its journey in 1981. It's made from 100% sugar cane, and obviously it's aged 30 years. It has won multiple awards, including Rum of the Year in 2016 from the Madrid International Rum Congress. They also won a silver medal in the same year at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. and Rum of the Year and Gross's Gold Medal in 2014 at the International Wittenwerb, to name just a few. Hopefully I nailed that pronunciation on that last one. When I went from the 7, I liked that just fine. Went into the 9, I liked that a bit more. So there's a trend so far starting where the older the rum, they seem to like it, which is kind of opposite how I feel about tequila. So I'm looking forward to this, so let's just hop into the review. So here in the review, usually the packaging part kind of goes quickly because there's, just a few comments in there. This is going to be a little bit longer than usual. And so we'll get to it. It is a bottle in a box, so I'm going to just divide it and just start with the box. Yeah, this thing is cool. Be great for a gift, for sure. Or just for yourself. You want something for someone who wants to display things and likes to be fancy. It's this beautiful color. I guess it's just cardboard, but I mean, it's velvet cardboard, but it's also got not velvet, but some kind of cloth texture to it. And then I didn't realize a few things because I've had this around for a while now, and I just really started taking a look at it. And then while doing the B shots, I noticed that it's not just a solid color that looks kind of like cloth. There's actual design in it. Like there's these plant-like, I'm guessing grapevine type textures in it, and they're all around in different parts. And then something that to me, it looks like Braille. I mean, it got that, what do you think Braille looks like? I'm not super big expert with Braille or anything like that, but I mean, I kind of recognize Braille when I see it, and that's kind of neat. And I don't know how to do like a Braille reader kind of thing, so I don't want to insult anybody by trying to translate it, but I'm guessing it would say Ron Centenario 30 Aniversario or something to that effect. It's a nice blue box with this gold print and design, and like I said, most of their brands or the products have the horse logo. Not this one anywhere that I could see, but it has like the Centenario International logo with the 1969 foundation year. And on the back, it's got some text. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time reading the whole thing, so maybe what I'll do, I'll just throw up a translation up here. You can just pause the screen if that interests you. Just hop into the inside of the box. I'm going to go to the very inner part where the bottle sits. And the inside, the logo of the Centenario International. It's very faint. It doesn't draw too much attention, but you can appreciate it. And then on the inner sleeve, you got this really pretty, colorful, I don't know if mural is the right word, but I mean, it's a picture, again, with more text there. Again, I'll put a translation and just throw it on screen. You can just pause it if that interests you. Telling some kind of a story. I don't want to speculate too much, but you have this young lady here holding maybe rum or some other liquor. I'm guessing she represents something of nature, Mother Nature, the vine, or, the sugar cane. Quite figure out what that's in her head. Oh, they're flowers. Okay. So some kind of nature goddess kind of thing. And then there's animals. And the volcano you see there, it's probably not just any random volcano. It's just Costa Rica. So it's probably one of their more famous volcanoes. Oh, I didn't even notice this. It has texture of like the clouds with like lightning coming out. That's pretty cool. Actually, the one thing I'm surprised they didn't put on here, because they have butterflies and birds and lizards and monkeys and this deer elk-like animal. I don't see a sloth unless it's hidden in here somewhere. But it's very pretty to look at. Very nice. Off to a very good start. Let's go ahead and move into talking about the bottle itself. Again, we're continuing just this classy look to it. Now this bottle, right off the bat, is definitely shaped from most of their other bottles, so that probably contributes to the whole limited edition factor. It's on the box itself, and it's on the bottle, but I should mention that it has Susanna Massey's signature on it. So, she's getting some credit there. And something I'm discovering just now while I'm holding this bottle is that this got that same Braille pattern here right on the label. So that's pretty cool. This one, the bottle shape is cool. Maybe not the most practical for stacking inside. I always, if you've seen it on my videos, I kind of like more squarish bottles. I like my bottles to be, I want to look nice, but also want to be kind of functional in the sense of being able to store them. This isn't that, but I'm so impressed by it, I can let it go. The liquor itself looks really great. It's just got this beautiful amber color. Obviously depends how much light hits it, but it always looks good. This is so good, I'm gonna just get super nitpicky. It's something I kind of noticed when I was doing B-roll. I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's got this foil here that wraps around the stem. And, it's perfectly aligned here with the international logo on the front. It's supposed to make a diamond pattern in the back. This is really tough because you use print design, so I know this isn't really the fairest thing, but it's not perfectly aligned. The diamond shape, the pattern comes out is a little bit off-centered, and it doesn't make, but whatever, that's super nitpicky. Another super nitpicky thing is that on the top, you know, you got the cork top, and there's a logo in there. Again, it doesn't matter because it's not lined up straight with the front. It's at an angle. You give this around as a gift or it's for yourself, who cares? I mean, you're gonna pop it off, and then are you gonna take the time to make sure it's straight? If you're OCD, you might be, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, they're already so close to having something that's just perfect in every single way that I'm still gonna just give it a perfect score. Just, you know, to break that out. Even if it has one of those annoying little stoppers in it. I mean, let's find out. So, probably the only thing that isn't super classy is just plastic, but I mean, I'm in the plastic world, so what we're gonna do. So yeah, this gets a perfect score. I think it's just a cork. Oh yeah. So yeah. So on that, on packaging, bottle review, yeah, perfect 5, yeah. So let's move on here to the aroma. I'm gonna reopen it again. We're off to a really good start here. So far it smells really good. I'm gonna get it out of the bottle though to give it sort of a final evaluation. Give me a second here. Oh, that is lovely. So, earth tones, fruitiness, the oak, this light, tingly, effervescent kind of smell that's from the alcohol as it evaporates. A lot of vanilla, and then the sweetness that goes with that. Oh yeah, that's 5. I mean, if it was acceptable, I'd have that just as a cologne. That'd be cool. So appearance then for the actual alcohol. Again, I always mention that when you go with these darker kind of liquors, and you know, depending how the light's hitting it and how it's brewed or distilled, let's just say, it's always a fine line between something that looks like somebody peed in a bottle or it's in a urinal and something that's actually appealing. This has that beautiful caramel, slightly dark honey kind of look to it. It looks beautiful. It doesn't matter how little light it put it or how much hits it. Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna give this also a 5 on the look. I'm hoping I'm not hyping this up too much, because now we're gonna do the flavor, which is the most important part. But if sort of the aroma is hitting a 5, so usually that translates to a really good score flavor-wise. So here's hoping. Ooh. Everything happens pretty much all at once. Doesn't seem to be much separation, which can be good or bad depending on how you want. You'll definitely taste the sweetness and the mellowness and the woodiness of it. The thing that probably comes out the strongest though is that the burn, but it's very pleasant. It's not like oh my god, it burns my nose or my throat, or it's just because it almost evaporates in your palate. There's this effervescent kind of taste that goes into your back of your throat, into your nostrils, and it's very pleasant, very likable. It's not a ugh kind of burn. It's the strongest one, but then there's still the undertones of the vanilla and the sweetness and the fruitiness and earthiness. Nearly perfectly balanced, like I said, except the burn taste kind of comes to a little bit more front forward, and it lasts a little bit longer. But luckily it's good. It's not a bad burn. I mean, I'm gonna do one more step here. And the whole thing is quick. Because again, depending on your taste, I mean, if it's something's not that great you don't like, well, it's kind of good that it goes quickly. But it's overall a really good taste, so I wish it would stick around a little bit longer. I know I said the lightly burny, effervescent kind of lingers, but I want the whole thing to stay around. I mean, I'm going to give this kind of an awkward score of 4.75. Nearly perfect. The only thing, if it could, the whole thing, I'm fine with the balance and the burning taste kind of lasting a little bit more powerful up front. It would just last a whole lot longer because it's that good. You don't want it to end so fast. You know, it clears your palate, doesn't linger around. Yeah, it's not ridiculously oily. Like, it's a nice coating of it, but it's a very thin coating and it runs down. So then, I'll give that, as far as the mouthfeel, also a 4.75. It could be a little bit thicker, so it's stick around a little bit longer. Though changing the taste profile, that would be just only a tiny little bit better it could be. But hey, 4.75 is good too. It looks great, tastes great. And then, so the only thing to really talk about is the buzz factor. As always, it's just unlike the other part of the score, it's just really more of how strong I think it is. Lower could be better, or higher could be better. I'm gonna give this also a strong 4.5, because I've only had the few sips you've seen on camera, and yeah, this thing gets you warm and gets you sloppy and starts messing with you pretty darn quick. And I've ate before, so I'm not on an empty stomach. Yeah, this is strong. So it's either dangerous in that way if you don't know how to control it, or it's, you know it's strong, so you don't overindulge. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let me do some quick math off screen and I'll give you a final score. All right, so I'm back after doing some quick math. So I want to make sure I got the score right, and I actually forgot what my final score was going to be for the buzz factor. So I stopped my camera so I can make sure I review the footage. So I reviewed the footage so I can make sure everything was correct. And sure enough, forgot that I gave it a 4.5. The thing is, this in the really minute, maybe less than a minute of walking up, turning off the camera, checking the review on one of the cameras, turning everything back on, kind of walking around, and like I mentioned before, we cut away, full stomach, only these few sips, and this thing has got me, I can tell, I'm kind of already stumbling over my words. So I'm going to bump it from the 4.5 that I originally gave it to a full-on 5. So with this math now being done and completed, it comes out to a 4.92. I definitely well deserved 5 score on that buzz factor from the 4.5 that I originally gave it. Yeah, good stuff, especially if you're trying to get a buzz and you don't want to take forever. Be safe and cautious, be aware, this is definitely strong stuff. So let's power through here. We got the mix section to talk about. Now, this Ron Centenario 30 is obviously really designed and meant to be drunk neat or on the rocks. I'm gonna do something kind of simple for the mix. After 30 years being in that barrel, it was never meant to be doctored up with like fruity mixes. It's blasphemous. I mean, you do you can do what you want, but at least something like this, it really is something premium, high brand, it's like a high quality brand thing. And yeah, you just drink it straight, maybe with some ice to chill it. But this is a mix section, so I wanted to try something. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it simple. And it was hard to find anything that felt appropriate. So again, I took something that was just suggested by AI. And as always, it kind of comes up short. But I modified it and did some more research that were non-AI related to come with something that I think will make sense here. So let's make something that's called a Rum Old Fashioned. Okay, so here we're gonna make something called a Rum Old Fashioned. So a few details or a little bit of knowledge here is that, because like I said, that's the 30-year aged rum. It's not really meant to be doctored up with a bunch of other mixers and things like that. So this is gonna be very simple as far as what the mix is. It's nothing super complicated. At least it was supposed to be. And in principle, it is. An old Rum Old Fashioned is pretty simple and basic. But there's so many variants of it, then it becomes complicated. And I kind of thought about maybe explaining some alternative ones versus the one I'm actually going to do, but there's too many. So I'll kind of point out some things as I go as I make my version of it, and maybe I'll see if I can include some other variants in the description below. But the one I'm going to use, or I'm going to make here today, is going to use a sugar cube. So now, the first thing right off the bat, as far as variants you can consider, is you can also use maple or simple syrup. So that's one thing. If you do end up going with the simple syrup version, we're going to skip the muddling. Of all the variants I found, there was no muddling with simple syrup, which makes sense as it's already liquid. But for now, we're going to take that out. Another thing is you're going to need, at least for the version I'm going to do, is an Angostura aromatic bitters. There's a little variation here as far as when you add the ingredient in. There's one I read that's pretty much done at the beginning, and it's part of the mixing and muddling process. And then another one that's near the end where you just throw it in. I'm just going to do it at the end. And then I wanted to show this real quick, is that there's a variant where you can get like an orange peel and get the orange zest and add that as a garnish. And so, as you all know, I don't really do any of the garnish stuff. It's just more presentation thing than I think that affects the actual taste. But what is interesting is I do have this bitter package here, and it does have like an orange bitters. So I consider using that, except it's empty. So something to consider. This is the Bitter Truth Cocktail Bitters Traveler set. It has like an orange one, so if you want to combine that, if you don't want to have to deal with peeling an orange and then spritzing the essence in there and garnishing it, but you still want some kind of orange content, there's that, it's an option. Like I said, I'm going to be doing the one where it involves a sugar cube. And so for that, we're going to do a muddling process. I've done this once before, but this is pretty simple, straightforward. Again, it says a dash of water to do the muddling process. Now, I looked at what a dash is, and again, there's too many variations. I'm not even going to attempt it. I kind of looking at making it not so runny. I want it thicker. So obviously, put more water is going to be thinner, and it's going to dilute the final product. But I want the rum to come through. I mean, it's a 30-year rum. Let it do its thing. So what is a dash of water that I'm using? It probably didn't really show up on the camera here, but it's literally less than 1/4 of an ounce. Maybe even just 1/2 of an ounce, maybe even a little bit more or less. The first thing we're gonna do is gonna pour that in there. Like I said, not much, obviously. Put that in there. Set this aside for a second. And then the muddling process. So in the previous time I did muddling, you had to be gentle to, because it was mint, and we didn't want to overdo it because it releases something kind of nasty if you do it too hard. But this is a sugar cube, so I don't think we have to worry about that. We only just want to get that broken apart. I mean, it's going to be kind of granular, but as much as we can, just kind of break it apart. Another thing to mention real quick, again, is everything ice is always a questionable thing. The way I'm going to show it is going to be using a single ice cube. There's more, and you could always just do that differently. You could even put an ice cube here maybe to muddle it if you want to chill it. But then next we're going to do the shaker. In fact, there's a version of this that doesn't even involve a shaker. It's just doing all within the glass. So if you want to keep it even simpler, you could do it that way too. So bring in the star of the show, the Ron Centenario 30 Aniversario. So this is 2 ounces of the rum. So let's pour this here. Not that I want to spill any, but you know, accidents happen. Might pull up just a little bit short. And 2 ounces. Get that all that rum in there as much as we can. Okay. Now here you could add an ice cube if you want to chill it. And I'm just afraid of watering it down too much. But again, you can put a single cube in there or some chips in there. But I'm gonna go straight to the shaking part. And again, never says much about as far as how long, how much. I can't imagine it's really a long time. I just want to give it a good 10-second shake or whatever. Ooh, making a bit of a mess. Okay. I think I salvaged most of it. Then we are going to strain it. But now comes the ice cube part, so give me 1 second. So as far as an ice cube, or ice in general, again, there's so many variants, you can just kind of do whatever you feel you prefer. But just by coincidence, I was walking around doing a little shopping, and I saw this spherical ice cube thing. I thought, oh, that'd be interesting, and I just picked it up, not really necessarily thinking it's gonna be for this. But then I was doing a little bit more final research on the mixing part, and then there was one variant that came out that actually did recommend a spherical ice cube. I think the idea is that these defrost slower, so thaw out slower, I should say, and so it doesn't water down your drink as much. So I can get this out here. There we go. So 1 single cube. And I've been kind of interested in buying something like this just because it looks kind of vaguely classy and cool, either big square one or this round one. So go here, pour over the top. All right. Actually, I have a little bit here I want to add in there just because I had a little bit of spillage. So then 3 to 4 dashes of the bitters. It varies, some say just 1 or 2. Again, so many variants for something so simple. Do like 3 there. Close that up. Give a little bit of a stir. Wipe this down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. That is a rum old fashioned. All right, we're back, and that's how you make a rum old fashioned, or at least one variant of it. And just real quick before we get into the review, just to comment back on the buzz factor from the regular part of the review. It's strong, comes on strong as I mentioned, but also dissipates pretty quickly. At least with that little bit of amount I have. Like, I'm sure if I kept on feeding it, I could sustain it. But I didn't have more than a few sips. It came on fast, came on strong, had me slurring my words and stumbling, just trying to turn cameras on and off. But then as I mixed this together, it ran away pretty quickly and it feels fine now. So another thing to note about it. But yeah, back to here, the rum old fashioned. We'll do the review here. And first, the aroma. It's just everything that the neat version had as far as aroma, except it's just more mellow. And the burning part is barely there, if there at all. It's more of a floral, the sweetness, probably because we added the sugar cube. So it tamed any of the kind of burnness smell, and it tamed the whole thing down, but the burning smell was really tamed down. It's almost out of existence. And the thing that only really comes out in the profile is the sweetness now. But again, it's got that sugar in it. So yeah, but it's very light. Again, it's so good. The only thing I wish it was more potent. But I think because of the nature of this and how it's supposed to really mean drunk something like this, as far as if you are going to mix it, if you're not going to drink it straight. But it's a classic thing. I think that works in its favor as far as the presentation and the vibe supposed to get from it. So I'm going to give that a perfect 5 again. Appearance? Looks, at least this variant that I came with looks really nice. It's got this wonderful little cloudiness to it. I went with the, like I said, it's something new for me, the spherical cube. And like I said, it's supposed to be supposedly melt not as fast, so that could be something that's to your benefit if you don't want to water down your drink. I just kind of like the classiness of it. Also like those big giant single cubes, but I don't have one of those yet. But yeah, I would say the whole presentation of this and how it looks, give that a 5 as well. So now moving on to probably the most important part, the flavor. That is really nice. You lose the effervescent kind of sensation and taste from the burning, but what's left there is so good. The vanilla is being more enhanced, and then it's got a cube of sugar in there, so that's all popping as far as sweetness. Oh, it's still light and very flowery, but it lingers a little bit longer than the straight version, and that's good because it's a very good taste, especially since it's not a very powerful, potent taste. But again, I think that's kind of the idea. It's supposed to be something classy. It's not, you know, chugga at the college pub or whatever. This is something a little more refined. I mean, I don't know. It's just really the sugar cube and the bitters. I think that really works to sort of tame any kind of the burn, even though the burn was fine. But I'm gonna give that a perfect 5. Yeah, that is really good. Now, whatever, even though I've barely altered it, just chilling it and putting the ice cube in the bitters, it extends the flavor profile longer. Not an extremely long amount of time, but just the right amount where you can get to enjoy it. It's not gone and going so quick, but then it doesn't stick around too long. So I'm gonna give that also a perfect 5 now. On the buzz factor, I think that might have been enough to tame it. Just adding that cube and letting it chill it, and the sugar even. Because I only had a few sips when it was straight, and I got out of my system really quick and started making it really hard to think and speak. Got my temperature up, or at least I felt warm. This though, very mellow. I don't feel anything coming on. And it's a drink as much, if not more, than when I did the straight review. Just now it's mixed in with some other stuff, and it's been chilled. It'd be a little bit unclassy and just kind of chug this down and see if anything takes effect. For science. I mean, I'll post or edit in an update, but I think chilling it, probably the biggest thing, and then whatever the bitters are doing and whatever that sugar cube is doing, take some of the edge as far as being to give you a strong, powerful buzz as opposed to just straight out of the bottle at room temperature. At this point, you just gotta say it's a 1. I mean, like I said, I'll update somewhere in the editing process if needed, but it went from super powerful and strong and just came on, hit you, to, man, just put down 2 ounces, along with some other stuff, obviously, but 2 ounces were in there, and I don't think I had 2 ounces sipping it straight, and it got me buzzed really quick, and this hasn't done anything. So yeah, just a 1 on the buzz factor now that it's been mixed. So let me do some off-screen calculation again, and just give you the score for the Rum Old Fashioned. So I'll be doing my math off-screen here, 4.2. It had, and even though it dropped from 5 all the way down to 1 on the buzz factor, I mean, I don't know if you're just at home and just looking to catch a buzz or whatever, or, yeah, just drink it, pour yourself a little shot and enjoy. But if you're out socializing and you're to be able to hold a conversation, it's worth it. And it's not like that mix is very complicated. Even any of the variants are very complicated. And it should be not complicated. I mean, it's been in the barrel for 30 years. You don't want a bunch of silly fruit juices and other mixes and stuff like that. It'd be a waste. Either, you know, it isn't terribly expensive. You can buy even other cheaper brands that do that kind of mixes. No, don't do that. Be classy. Just, you know, keep it simple. Like I said, either the cube one that I showed you, the simple syrup one. You can add the orange zest if you want, the bitters wherever you want them, and just chill it. And it's perfect. Like I said, you can drink those, and the only dangerous thing about that is that since the buzz factor is so weak, you can kind of just keep downing them, and if you're not paying attention, it eventually could get you in trouble, but, you know, be responsible. Good times. Yeah. So that pretty much does it. That's going to wrap up, for at least for now, my time with Ron Centenario. I don't have anything else of theirs. But I'm definitely, on my next trip to Costa Rica, looking to maybe pick up some other products. I think it'd be fun to continue on. I don't know how much more history I can really cover, but even if it's mostly just straight reviews, I think that'd be worth it. And if you have any final thoughts on this particular one, if you tried it and know about it, know the other 2 brands from the other 2 videos or any of the other products, let me know. It helps with the whole algorithm things. If you can comment and say something in there, and just like this and share the video, subscribe obviously, so that'd be helpful. Yeah, I covered most of the big narratives about this. Looking just trying out some of their other products when I get a chance. And just, you know, enjoy. You know, let me know in the comments what you think, and until the next time, enjoy the spirits responsibly.